Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Tammy Urashenkoff. I'm the Director of Corporate Marketing for SmartTouch Interactive. And I would like to welcome you to this 30-minute live webinar called And You Thought Email Was Dead. So I'm going to start off by introducing our panelists today. And then if you have any questions throughout the course of the webinar, please throw them into the Q&A section and we will field some questions at the end. So first off, I would like to introduce our webinar host, Robert Coez. He is our CEO and president of SmartTouch Interactive and many years of marketing experience, and email is his jam. So he's going to have fun talking to you about that today. Joining us is our very special guest, Jeff Shore from Shore Consulting, and the keynote speaker for the Jeff Shore Sales and Marketing Summit that's taking place in Nashville in July. If you haven't got your ticket for that yet, you're going to want to sign up. And last but not least, Michelle Khanna, our email marketing expert with SmartTouch Interactive. Michelle is also our account director for our Houston area, and she will be giving you some pretty cool information on how she uses email for re-engaging leads. So without further ado, we're going to kick things off with Robert to talk about Is Email Dead?
Thank you, Tammy. So if you thought email was dead, how many people that are joining us today, whether on the live or the rebroadcast, think email's dead? Well, I'm gonna, before share with you why we feel it's absolutely not, it is alive and well, I'm gonna take you to a trip down memory lane. I've happened to be involved in real estate marketing for 21 years. And so I first started producing email marketing campaigns in what I refer to as the golden era of email marketing. That's the year 2000. And back then, you could actually go on eBay and acquire a list for your local market of AOL users, load it up into an SMT server, and press send and find success and deliver a marketing message for the first time that you could A/B test two different ideas, two different concepts, and see in real time how the response of your audience went. Prior to that, if you all recall, we had to wait till the Sunday newspaper. We had to wait till the local metropolitan magazine to publish our message. And so with that came the emergence of what I call the golden era and the adoption of email, and kind of the beginning of the transition of the digital era from the print era. And so that was the golden era. Our company became competent in that. I actually started SmartTouch in 2010, and email marketing was at its height, at least in this decade of 2010 to 2020. And so it's the spam enforcement, because by that time, everybody had caught up with it. The entire world had caught up with it. And so it was just gazillions and gazillions of emails being sent with promotional information, all kinds of information flooding the inboxes. So out came the CAM Spam Act, right? I don't know if everybody remembers that, but the CAM Spam Act came out. And so that we had regulations. The ISPs, to manage their email servers, began to put what is known as infrastructure. So in that little area below that where Tammy has the ISPs require reverse DNS, all that crazy stuff that most people don't understand, that started being required. But then most people started using companies like MailChimp, Constant Contact, NextGen, that to deliver their emails. And so they utilize a third party to manage that. Nonetheless, the ability to deliver was now being regulated and rewarding the people that manage their lists versus the people that were still kind of living in the wild west. Nonetheless, 25% open rates, 20% on realtor lists. It was very valuable and alive and well at the beginning of that era. And then, transitioning into the second half of that decade, we had as an agency clients that bought into it. They're 100% bought into the strategy, in which, like, not only were they producing a campaign and email to send to their opt-in audience, but they're producing 4 or 5 different communications that were intentional efforts and creating compelling content. And one of our special guests today, Michelle, is going to share how we go about doing that. But they were doing that for realtor audiences. They were doing that for buyer audiences. They were doing it for drip campaigns. They were doing it for rented lists, right? But all of a sudden, towards 2018, 2019, at SmartTouch, we started seeing the results deteriorate. And we spent a lot of time working with our clients on finding out why. And our theory is really the mixing of lists, right? And the mismanagement of lists, in which we had purchase lists with realtor lists with people that had already bought, and the game continued to change. The way that the ISPs filter and the way that email boxes are managed to determine like what they let in began to be filtered by engagement. So if you had people that had already bought and they're ignoring your emails, they were going into the junk folder. So we were consistently having to justify why produce a specific piece of content for just 10% open rates on our realtor list. I started getting questions about it. Email's dead, Rob? Email's dead? And I really started questioning it. And then came 2020. And then the market changed. Overwhelming demand. People start paying attention to email. There's shortage, etc. And all of a sudden, all of our clients across the board, peers that I engage with throughout the country and at IBS, all of them reporting the overwhelming response and engagement from email. 40% on opt-in lists, 35% on realtor lists that before weren't really productive. So is email dead? Absolutely not. It is alive and effective. And so from a strategy standpoint today, our experts are going to open up their tackle box, if you will, and share some of the hooks that they guide their clients, their fishermen, if you will. And here at SmartTouch, we have this concept of all lines in. And so, I'd like to introduce our first expert, Mr. Jeff Shore. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks for having me, Robert. Let's have some fun.
All right. Well, you know that in 2022, there was still overwhelming demand, people signing up on every list they could possibly get to have an opportunity to purchase a home. And then the second half of the year, there were people on the fence and things change. And a lot of people decided to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till 223. And as a result of that, like, I know a lot of the fishermen that you guide on the sales side had relationships with the people. They probably had already like put money down on a home, maybe selected a floor plan, and all of a sudden backed out. And so life still goes on, and the need for shelter based on a change in your lifestyle is still needed. So whether you need to move up or move down, if there's a need to buy, people are still buying today. Not at the volume, but they're still buying. And so I'd like to ask you, since we're talking about hooks, if you could open up and share some of the hooks that you guide your fishermen as it regards to communicating with their buyers, that they had a relationship and they know that they're still in the market, but they've gone kind of radio silent on them.
Yeah, well, listen, we first have to ask ourselves the question, the first question, which is, what do they want to see versus what do I want to send? And frankly, I think it's a good life rule. If before we send an email, we looked at it from that perspective and asked, why would they want to see this versus what do I want to send to this person? And if we just think about the emails that we would want to receive, or maybe more pointedly, if we looked at the emails that we will quickly reject. Okay. So, Robert, like you, I'm a business owner. How many emails do you get a day from somebody trying to sell you something, from somebody it has no idea what your business is, by the way, but wants to show you how their latest and greatest tool or technology or service or whatever it is going to absolutely change your life. And to me, I immediately look at it and go, well, it's probably a bot sending that email. They have no idea who I am. There's no compelling reason, and I delete these emails as soon as I see them. I don't delete them. I move them to the spam file so that they can't send it to me ever again. Okay. And so we have to start there and ask ourselves, oh, well, what turns us off? And whatever turns us off, don't do that. Right. Let's find some other way to be able to approach this. And ultimately, when we think about what people want versus what we just want to send, then we have to start with the word people. These are people. These are human beings. These are individuals. So you don't have to ask the question, what does an email recipient want? You just have to ask the question, what does a human being want? And human beings want personal. They want connection. They want to be served. They want to feel special. None of this is going to happen with a junky bot-like email. So, when we look at it and say, is email dead? Well, no, it's not dead when it's used properly. Unfortunately, so many people are still abusing email that it's the easiest medium for me to ignore if it's not done right.
So we're talking about, those are people and content. And, I got was able to have the presence at one of your latest webinars. And you guided your audience about give. And from a sales perspective, right? We're talking about somebody that you were communicating. This sales professional, sales counselor has a relationship with this buyer that's gone. He's now out of the market, or say, hey, you know what? We're going to wait, right? And so now I want to restart this relationship. And so if you're believing in your approach of give, could you share what would be some of the examples that you would guide?
Sure. Well, first of all, just to be clear, it's give, ask, right? So 3 gives and then an ask. But the point is that you have to earn the ask. And most emails are ask only, right? Do you want to? Would you like to? Can I dangle this in front of you? And so if we can look at it and say, let me show you how I can provide real value to your life. Let me show you how I can be a benefit to you. And I want to give to you here without asking. We'll get to the ask down the road. So what we're talking about here is the fundamentals of content marketing, but done in a very unique and specific way. So for example, if I have somebody that I had been working with and they went cold on me, they went silent for a while, if I did my job right in my initial conversations, I still know who they are. I still have information about their life. I know about their kids. I know about their hobbies, their interests, whatever it happens to be. So now I'm going to spend just a little bit of time and I'm going to ask the question, what would enrich their life? What would enhance their life? What were some of the things that we talked about that I can now expand upon? Oh, well, they've got 2 kids, and those 2 kids, and they're a relo buyer, and those 2 kids are both into karate. I remember that part of the conversation. Great. I went on Yelp. I researched to find out what the top-rated karate school studios are, and then I shot a quick email over to the head dojo dude at this top-rated karate school to say, tell me what makes you number 1, and I'm going to forward that information on to this buyer. That whole process took me less than a minute, but it reconnects with my customer on a positive way. And then I remember when we were walking through, we were talking about decor and their decor style. And they told me they were really into bold. And I found this article online that Sherwin-Williams put out about the boldest, brightest colors for 2023. So I'm going to send that along to these people. So this is the idea. I'm trying to figure out how I can add value, how I can give to them. And again, there's not, please come by my house. No. It's just like, hey, I wanted to stay in touch. I found this. What do you think? I'm just trying to do that. Now I can come back and I have the opportunity either by email or by phone call to say, look, I just wanted to check in with you, see how you're doing here. We've got a new home that's come on the market that I think you might be interested in. Now I can get into my ask. But that's the pattern. Give, and then ask.
There it is. That is the hook. Well, that you're talking about quality conversation trigger to restart that. And so with that being said, there's this emergence of AI and AI content. And so I know from a sales perspective, there is a trend to figure out how can we produce more content valuable for them, or at least mix the AI with the HI, the human intelligence, and create a way to be more effective with it. Have you seen from your practice anybody doing that effectively or with strategy?
Well, first of all, what you just said, I think was really, really important. You cannot delegate this to AI in its entirety. AI is still going to scrub the internet to say, what does a sales email look like? And since most sales emails are so bad, we can't rely on AI exclusively. However, if we blend that with the human touch, that's where the benefit comes into play. So if I'm sending an email, and I specifically am addressing it to an individual, right? So I let them know that this is for them, but the content of the email came off of AI. So if I ask AI, for example, what are the 5 hottest decor trends for 2023? Well, now I can lift that information and put it in the body of the email. Or if there's something about that customer that I can relate to over here, I can get that off of AI and incorporate it. But I personally am not ready to delegate to AI and say, go scrub the internet for sales letters and use one of those to send to my customers. It's gonna sound like an AI wrote it at that point. And just so you know, I'm a big fan of AI. I think that it does amazing things for us, especially on the marketing side. But I am hesitant when it comes to removing the human connection. Ultimately, we have to be able to let people know that this email that you're receiving came from a human being to a human being. That's the key.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I want to just introduce our second expert, Michelle Cana, who is one of our leading account directors at SmartTouch Interactive, and she's actually produced over 5 award-winning email campaigns in the last 12 months for our clients. And I'd like to have her open up her tackle box, but really asking the reason why. And so when I introduced Jeff, we talked about one-on-one emails of people that were in the marketplace in 2022. But this surge actually started in 2020. And so like most, if sales organizations, if they are supported by marketing and they were capturing these contacts through CRMs or through their website, have had these swollen databases that still contain buyers. These are low-hanging fruits that at one point they had a relationship with at least the brand. And so Michelle is an expert at reviving what we thought were dead leads. So she's going to open up her tackle box and share how she goes about re-engaging them.
Thanks, Robert. Good morning, everyone. So The best strategy to revive a dead email campaign is what we call the 5 C's: content, click-driven, collaboration, creative, and consistency. So the very first one that I want to go into is content. And Jeff kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but is what you're putting in your email even something that people want to read? Do you want to read it? Does it make sense, most importantly, too, with what you're putting in the subject line so that the consumer journey is seamless? You can see here, this is one of examples of our award-winning emails campaign, and the content in here was rich. It included a sales initiative. It included a focus on a new builder that was producing new homes during a time where it's very difficult to get those inventory homes. Moving on to our second point is making sure that your email is click-driven. Yes, we want them to open the email. We want them to read through it, but we also want to strategically place CTAs or calls to action throughout the email that will drive them either to your website, your social media pages, your blog, anything that encourages more exploration and discovery. The third C is what we call collaboration. Well, you might ask, collaboration with who? The answer is everyone. You want to make sure that you are setting up workflows. So it is the behind the scenes work of an email that allows you to communicate the information that is being shared through clicks. So at the very top of the email, for example, we ask, what is your ideal date to move in? Let's say that Allie or Sally has clicked that she is looking to move in 6 months. You want to make sure that there is a notification that is being sent to your sales associates that tells them Sally, her contact card, she can't move in for at least 6 months. Let's send her homes that are available at exactly that 6-month mark, not before, not make her wait after. Make sure that if we are adding that information in our emails, that we're using it correctly and we're sending the collaboration to your sales associates. Moving on to the fourth C, and the one that can often be overlooked, is creative. Is your email pretty? And I mean that. Is it time to maybe update that template that you've been using since 2003? Do you have the wow images? Is it bright? Is it what the brand stands for? And most importantly, is it representative of your consumer? If you have a high-end product, the email needs to look high-end because your consumers are most likely high-end consumers. And then
Michelle, I was going to add that if your email file template says 2019, it's time for a change, ain't it?
Yeah, let's start there when the era starts changing over for sure, Robert. And then finally is consistency. Let's say that you follow all our 4 C's and you have created the most perfect email. But if you are sending it inconsistently and at poor deployment dates and times, you might not get the opens and the engagements you deserve. So I encourage you to do test sends. See what times and dates are getting the most engagement and then stick with it. Checking an email, I think, can be considered a little bit of a routine activity. People tend to do it usually at the same times of certain days because it correlates to that routine. So you want to find the routine that your consumer follows and stick to it.
There you have it.
Yeah, that's
Thank you,
right.
Michelle. She is an expert at reviving dead leads and one of our best marketers. So she talked about, I'm just going to extend on the C, and this is often overlooked, and it's all the behind the scenes workflows that Michelle spoke to in that she has to keep in her tackle box as well. And that's like, yes, if I put a call to action that we want for the buyer to raise their hand and let us know they're still in the market, I need to notify either online sales or the community or the project sales counselor, right? If you've got a CRM and it's connected to your email campaign system, you want to update their preferences. Like, if there's a way to filter those individuals and put them on a hot list that, hey, here's everybody who's still in the market. All right, hey, that you thought email was dead webinar was absolutely right. We got a hot list of people that you joined us in 2020 and hadn't bought, right? So you've got to be able to collaborate and notify somebody that you've got a live one. Then you can trigger also additional emails and text strips, right? Like if you've got inventory and somebody has said that they're in the market, you can then trigger your automated inventory email out, right? And then like increasing the lead score and being able to let sales know that, hey, this individual is opening the campaigns for marketing as well as engaging in our calls to action, right? So a number of different automations that often are overlooked and have created a role in the marketing department or at the agency in having a marketing professional that is also savvy at the technology. So with that being said, that kind of concludes our thought email was dead, but I have a little special surprise. And that's just sharing with you one new adoption. And it's the old channel with new users that's working. And yes, that's text. Yes, SMS text, and now as well, multimedia. We have introduced this in our practice over the last 2 years and have found tremendous success. And the reason why is we typically get 98% open rates on text messages. There's 3.8 billion people worldwide that have text messaging. And so it's a communication channel that the new generation, you all know, they prefer to text. They don't talk on the phone anymore. They text. Well, guess what? Those are the people that are in the marketplace. And so that's just a bonus from you thought email was dead. If you're buying into what we just shared, and it's going to make you think about the strategy that you currently have in place, both on your sales emails, as Jeff alluded, and what are we communicating to this buyer? Do they even want to receive it? And then from marketing standpoint, right, is this really compelling? Am I using a template from last decade? So I hope this inspires you to think about the strategy. But we're going to take a couple of questions from the audience. Tammy's going to read them from the chat. But before I do that, I'd like to welcome back Jeff. And Jeff is hosting and holding the Sales and Marketing Summit in Nashville, Tennessee. And I know it's coming up next month. And I wanted to, for our audience, if those of you that have not registered, if there's still an opportunity to register, I understand you guys have already over 650 people that subscribe to attend and counting. So can you share with us if there's still an opportunity and what to come to expect in Nashville from this summit?
Yeah, we do have a few seats left. We're capped at 700, but it is no question about it. It's the biggest sales and marketing conference by far in the home building industry. Nothing's even close. And it is just great fun. So the combination of the content, which is fresh every year, we create new content, the opportunity to meet with sales and marketing professionals from all over North America and share best practices and learn what's going on there. But then we do it in a really fun atmosphere, lots of interaction, live band, great food. We bring in an MC, we play games. You got a t-shirt cannon. I mean, come on, how can you go wrong with a t-shirt cannon? So we're just having a really, really great time. And of course, Nashville, who doesn't want to be in Nashville? We're at the Music City Center, which is an amazing venue. It's steps off of Broadway, the main street there, and it's going to be a great party. So we're looking forward to the opportunity to have a little fun, relax, but also get much smarter, learn, get inspired by one another. It's going to be a great time for sure.
Thank you, Jeff. So how can they, if those that have not signed up yet, how can they get registered for the summit?
Yeah, just go over to jeffshore.com and you'll see it right there on the main page. That's the easy way to do it. You can still buy a ticket. We're getting close here, but just click on the buy tickets now or tickets on sale now button and you'll be right there. You don't want to miss it. It is it is just, we do it every year, and it's reunion week for me. It's so much fun to see so many good friends, but I'm just so inspired by what I learned from everybody. I think you're gonna have a great time.
Awesome. Well, you just saw some pictures. I happened to be in Nashville a couple of weeks ago for my son's baseball, and I had to spend a week there. And I tell you, it was absolutely terrific. It was an absolutely great time. If I was you, I'd probably plan for an extra day so you can enjoy a wonderful city. The Music City is terrific. Hey, well, for us, it's the biggest event of the year for us in our participation. And so we're coming in with all lines in. And I'd like to invite everybody in the audience, those of you that attended live, as well as those in the rebroadcast, to stop by our booth number 117 to discover your fish finder for new home buyers. That fish finder for new home buyers, you'll get to see what that's all about. And so while you're there, I'd like to encourage you, we're going to be giving complimentary tackle boxes off, and these are going to go fast. So I'd like to encourage you today, why we put the pre-register now. If you pre-register to have a conversation about the fish finder for new home buyers, you can, we'll get the complimentary tackle box that features a lot of great gifts from Nashville, as well as fishing for buyers.